Hey, contractors, welcome to the behind the scenes of your online user access portal with Lite Speed Insurance. If you take a look here, this is your dashboard. This is where essentially where you have access to all your information. This is your company information as well, which would include the business name, FEI number, primary contact, address, phone number, email, etc., etc. On the top right, you're going to see that you can do send certificates. Now, you do have the ability to issue your own certificates. One thing, we will have a tutorial video that we can send out to you explaining how to issue certificates. I don't want to go into that detail. It's a pretty easy process, but you can issue any certificate you need. There are some limitations to that, and that would be that if you need a special endorsement like primary wording, sometimes you need to schedule an endorsement like additional insured. Those requests would have to be sent to our certificate department at certs@lightspeedins.com. Now, if we want to access our policy information, we just click on policies and we can see right instantly all the policies that we have had with Lightspeed Insurance. We can see here the policy number, effective date, expiration date, line of business, name of the carrier, and the full term premium. If you click the policy number, it'll redirect you to this page. Again, you'll have that information available to you, and then here you'll see the actual policy limits of your policy. So it's good information to know just in case you're bidding for work and maybe they have a contract that requires you to have maybe like an extra limit to it, $2 million instead of $1 million, and it means that we may need to have an excess to that. So let's go back and see here. So what makes Lightspeed very interesting is that we can actually upload all your information. So if we go here into documents, you can see all these folders are here for you to update and manage your policies. It's very important that you do so, especially in the business of construction, where insurance is a very, very important part of the process, right? So first would be audit documents. Now, when we're performing an audit with a carrier, we do need several items. A lot of times we need financial statements, bank statements, payroll records. You'll also need a list of your subcontractors, a description of them, and copies of their certificate of insurance or a valid exemption. That will be performed here. You can organize it here, and we can help you out with that as well. Now, these other lines, commercial auto, commercial property, I don't have any details here because wasn't necessary. But if you do have a policy, whether we own it or not, that's one of the interesting parts is that, we are just here to help organize these things for you so you have access to it all the time. One of my number one complaints is that agents are just really frustrated. Well, not agents, but contractors are just super frustrated with dealing with multiple agents where they have to issue a certificate from one, certificate from another, or they have to get lost run reports. They have to contact agents and they go back and forth all day long. So whether or not we have it or not, our client experience rep will her job is to gather that information from you so they can store it here so we can have access to it. And one of the beauties of it as well is that when we have access to it, we can confirm those renewal dates. And when a renewal comes, we will contact you 30 days prior, again, whether we own it or not, just to give you a renewal update. Say, hey, is there any changes that we need to modify? Should we shop around and look for a better quote? Sometimes we have better options out there when businesses grow or if business decreases and we need to go back down and find another carrier that's willing to write us. So it's very important that we do that and we update those records at all time. So it's very nice. Again, our dedicated rep will give you that extra support. That is her job. to maintain these files, to make sure that everything is up to date and that you have it and you have access to it at all times. And just one little portal versus going to emails and back and forth. It's a really frustrating thing to do. Now, here's a good example of the workers' comp. And here in workers' comp, you will have the deck page of your policy. This is just, the copy, your binding documents of your policy. And it's very important information that you have that because it gives you all the exclusions, limits, pretty much everything you need to know. Here is, this is, let's see, payment receipt. So we'd like to upload anytime that you do pay for a policy, we do upload the receipt so you have copy of that and evidence of it. And then the signed documents, the pre-binder. This is the documents required to essentially bind a policy, and that includes could it include certain applications, certain things, payment information. So all of it, I don't want to scroll too much because it could be confidential information, so I won't. But this is important again for you to have full access to this at all times. And as years go by, obviously we'll organize this by years so you can see it a little more organized, a little bit better. So that is that. So that's what we call our policy management. We like to manage those policies. And if you hear that term, policy management, that is what we're referring to. Now, one thing that we implement for contractors, those that have subcontractors, this is very, very important, especially for the audit, reducing liability. Subcontractors can be a pain to manage. It's not a pain to manage, but there's a lot of documentation, right? We have to collect their certificate of insurance, general liability, workers' comp, commercial auto, whatever lines that you require them to have. We have to collect that, save it, and provide it during the audit. So that's very important to have. And so one thing that we do is the contractor tracking system. And if you obviously, if you're here, you've already seen our contracting system that we do for our clients. And just to get a full recap on that, essentially we sign you up to the online platform. It's zero cost to do so. And what we do is once we sign you up, we manage all your subcontractors' information with the subcontractor list. And that list will, once we put that information, you'll get an email notification. We would get it, you would get it. And then at that point, our goal is to update all that information at all times. So to give you a behind the scenes of how that looks, subcontractor list, we'll have the list here. It is a spreadsheet. I'll get to that next. And then these are the two subcontractors on there. And you can see here, ABC Construction. We will store a sample of their certificate of insurance. So the cert that you need to show that he worked at your job site and he had insurance. If you don't have this, they will charge you premium for an uninsured 1099 because you were not able to prove that they have insurance. Last thing you want to do at the end of the year is start calling all your subs. Hey, I need this, I need that, because they're trying to charge me 5-10 grand. It doesn't make sense. That's what we help you to do and manage that. Then we have the exemptions. If he's a owner only and he's just one guy, he has a registered business, he's filed an exemption. This is not confidential. I actually made all these numbers up. Business name for the sake of testing. So here, this also, if they have a valid exemption. Now, if they don't have an exemption and they're just by the they're going to be considered your employee. Maybe not to the IRS, maybe not, but in terms of workers' comp, they will charge you premium for that, for uninsured 1099 for not having an exemption. Another thing is, if they don't even have the right exemption and it's a non-construction and they're performing construction, they will verify that and they will charge you premium for that. So it's very important that we understand this. Again, we're here to help you out. Store this. We always recommend just to forward any certificate of insurance you have for that contractor. Just send it right over. We'll take it, we'll put it here in your online portal so you have full access of it at all times. And it's really, really great. And we can always call your subcontractors just to make sure that they're up to date. Now, going to the subcontractor list. Now, this is your up-to-date list of all your subcontractors where our client experience rep lives by. So her main priority job is to make sure that this information is always up to date and current, you will have this document as well. We will share it together. And then at that point, our job is to make sure, well, your job really is to update the contractors list. And our job with the system, you can do it yourself. You can have one of your team members. We're just giving you that extra support to make sure that you are aware of maintaining this and or using our resources to help you to do so as well. So here is the name of the subcontractor, the contact name, phone number, email, the services they provide, whether they have workers' comp insurance, yes, no, pending, or he's exempt, right? A valid exemption. Not, it doesn't mean that he has a crew and he's just using his exemption. If he has a crew, he better give you a certificate of insurance. Now, general liability, same thing. Yes, no, pending. And then workers' comp exemption. If it's filed, yes, no, included in the policy. And then contractor tracking. This is what we've been speaking about is did we enter them into the tracking system? Are we getting a notification of any changes from them? So once these things are up to date, our client experience rep's job is again to make sure that all this information is accurate, that we indeed have the workers' comp GL and workers' comp exemption. We could include auto in there if it's really necessary, but we just like to keep it at workers' comp GL as they're the two most popular items. But again, if we need to add all those lines of insurance, not a problem. We can add that, simple. So the more we start adding, the more we start entering it into the system. I don't want to go into much to the tracking system, as a lot of the videos we have already seen has been about that tracking system. But as you know, you will get an email notification. So there's a few ways you can do it. If you want to do it all by yourself, you know, you like to be the boss, you like to handle it, you like to be in control of the situation, which is fine. That's cool. We put your email address, all the notifications go to you. You could take the contractor list, manage yourself. But why do all that work when you can use Lite Speed Insurance support team to help you modify and keep all this information up to date? And when audit comes, everything is right there in your online portal, easily accessible, ready to go. And then boom, just take it out and just hand it to the auditor to complete. So if we go back here, we have, again, these are the folders of those two contractors as we discussed. We have those information uploaded for that subcontractor as well. So other than that, if there is a pending cancellation, it will show that you have a pending cancellation. So be aware. Again, we send out email notifications for that. So when you do get an email notification, you'll see here that it will have one. And you can also go back to all the certificates you have had in the past. You can also resend them as well. But that is something that our team can teach you through one of our tutorials. Just wanted to show you and give you an example of all the data that we have here. So that concludes our behind the scenes of our online access. I hope you really enjoy. We're looking forward to helping you contractors really help and manage this. We know how frustrating it can be, and we're just trying to make insurance easier for you guys so you guys can continue what you guys do best, which is building and building. So be looking forward to talking to you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day and have a good one.